Welcome to the Beyond Barriers podcast. If you're an ambitious woman who wants to dominate your career, then you are in the right place. This podcast is co-hosted by Nikki Barua, digital innovator, serial entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and Monica Marquez, ex-Googler, diversity expert, and senior corporate leader. From inspiring stories to cutting-edge strategies, you'll learn how to develop the skill set, mindset, and tool set to get future-ready fast and accelerate your success.
Hi, I'm Nikki Barua, your host for today's episode. Have you ever hoped for your dreams to come true or wished that you were luckier in life? Well, if you want to succeed, then you must eliminate the words hope, luck, and wish from your vocabulary. That's the message from JT McCormick, whose inspiring story will convince you to follow his sage advice. JT was born the mixed-race son of a drug-dealing pimp father and a struggling single mother. He was raised in the slums of Dayton, Ohio. He suffered incredible abuse and racism and had multiple stints in the juvenile justice system. He barely graduated high school and has no college degree. No one expected him to succeed. Against all odds, JT overcame racism, poverty, and abuse to achieve the American dream, becoming a very successful businessman leading multimillion-dollar companies. JT McCormick now serves as the president and CEO of Scribe, a publishing company that has been widely recognized as one of the best places to work and ranked as the #1 top company culture in America by Entrepreneur magazine. In this 2-part episode special, JT shares his leadership principles, his core values, and his belief that no obstacle is too difficult to conquer and that the game can be won by anyone from anywhere. JT McCormick's story stands out as a powerful expression of human potential, our incredible ability to persevere in the face of adversity and achieve our greatest ambitions. Here's part 1 of 2. Visit I'mBeyondBarriers.com, where you'll find show notes and links to all the resources in this episode, including the best way to get in touch with JT. Hi, JT. I'm so excited for our conversation today because you are someone I truly admire. Who you are, what you stand for, your values, your leadership, your work ethic. There's just so much to learn from you. So I couldn't be more thrilled to have you here.
Well, Nikki, that's you kind of hit me in the face right there with admire. I just work hard. That's all I got.
The hustle is real, man.
that's all I got. I just work hard. I mean, it's man, admire. I appreciate that. I'm incredibly flattered and humbled. Thank you, ma'am.
No, you're an incredible leader. So let's dive right in. I know your story, but I want our listeners to hear directly from you. So share your story with us, and especially how it shaped you.
So, wow, my story. That's a bit of an open-ended question. So, because my story, so give me a more give me more direction.
The beginnings.
Wow.
How the the great leader emerged from all of that adversity.
So I'll touch on the adversity a bit. So my father was I'm 48 years old. My father was a black pimp and drug dealer in the 1970s. And so when I say pimp, a real pimp, he put women on the street corner, they sold their bodies, and my dad took all their money. But along the way, he also managed to father 23 children. So I'm one of 23.
Wow.
Now,
I did not know that.
Yeah, my mother. See, there's some, I still got some things you don't know. So my mother, she's white, and she was an orphan. She grew up in a 1950s institutional orphanage, where the kids were routinely neglected, beat, so when she turned 17, they gave her a little suitcase, $20, and they said, good luck to you. There's a world. Make the most of it. She had never been outside of those 4 walls. Unfortunately for my mom, one of the first people she met was my quite a bit older, fast-talking dad. So, I was, and still am, mixed race, but I grew up in the 70s, and that was not a good look here in the States,
right,
to be mixed race in the 70s. Well, for some, it probably still isn't a good look, but it was tough. Mm-hmm. Black people didn't like me because I was half white. White people didn't like me because I was half black. Mm-hmm. And, we grew up extremely poor. We grew up on welfare. There were times where, I would pull trash from the school cafeteria and eat uneaten sandwiches or half-eaten sandwiches because I knew there wasn't going to be anything to eat when I got home. I was sexually molested by one of my dad's prostitutes, ages 6, 7, and 8. She would force me to perform oral sex on her, and if I didn't do it right, she would slap me in the head, punch me in the face, and tell me to do it right. And you're 8 years old. What's do it right mean? I had no clue. And so through all that, I was in and out of the juvenile 3 different times, bounced around from different family members. Ended up when I graduated. Well, I never graduated from high school. I got my GED. But when I was 15 and I enrolled in high school in Texas, when I got reunited with my mother, I was testing on a 5th or 6th grade level at 15 years old. So needless to say, didn't graduate high school, got my GED, did not graduate college. And my first job out of after I got my GED was cleaning toilets at a restaurant. And that was my first job. So that's where it all started, was cleaning those toilets and making a commitment. What's important here, Nikki, is what's important there is I remember looking at those filthy toilets and saying to myself, okay, if this is my job, this is my responsibility, I am going to have the cleanest toilets in the city of San Antonio. These are going to be the cleanest toilets in the state of Texas. And from that day forward, everything I did, I just wanted to be the best at it. My dad, and I recently started sharing this. I didn't share this up until about 9 months ago. My dad actually instilled that in me. He said to me once when I was a kid, he actually said to me and several of my siblings, whatever you do in life, be the best at it. He said, if you're going to sweep the street for a living, be the best street sweeper. Now, he could have given us a something a little more aspirational, but that's what he said. He said, if you're going to be the street sweeper, be the very best one. And so when I stood in front of those toilets, that was the commitment I made. I said, okay, then I'm going to be the best at everything I do. And that's been my motto ever since.
Oh my God, that is such an incredible story and so inspirational for the adversity that you've overcome. And it really puts things into perspective, especially right now. We're in the midst of a pandemic and, there are people that are, struggling from just being stuck in the house, in the luxury of our homes and the safety and security of gated.
Now, Nikki, we just talked about that. We are not stuck in our homes.
In our homes watching Netflix, right? So it really puts things into perspective of what adversity could really look like.
Yeah.
What really helped you overcome all of that and develop that right mindset and make the right choices along the way? What was the motivation to go beyond barriers when at any given point of time throughout that journey, you could have said, why me? And that's it. I can't take anymore. I give up.
I greatly appreciate that question. So there's 3 things that went in there where you said, why me? Could have just ended it all. One, I never expected to live till I was 25, just given the way I was growing up. Never expected to live until I was 25. But a couple of things also happened in between there. My last visit to juvenile, I want to say I was 13 or 14 years old. I'm leaving the facility and a corrections officer comes up to me and he's seen me the 3 times I've been there. Yeah. And he comes up to me and he points at me in my face and he goes, son, if you come back here again, you're going to man prison. Now, Nikki, I'm 48 years old and I don't know what it is about the term man prison that just doesn't sound right. So I did not want to go to man prison. I've never been to man prison. Yeah. And so that was a very influential moment for me that I was like, hey, I don't want to go to man prison. So I never went back to juvenile again. Another thing that was very critical for me, I don't know if she was setting me up for this, and maybe she thought maybe I considered it, but I remember as a kid, as a young kid, I had to be under 10 years old, my mother saying to me that committing suicide was one of the most selfish things you can do because you ease your pain, but you leave the ones that love you in pain. And that stuck with me. So, I've always looked, okay, well, things are hard. I'm not going to kill myself because that's selfish. I'm not going to go to man prison because I don't want to go down that path. And so the third thing that you said there, how did I overcome those odds? I've also looked at my life and made decisions and choices that I never saw it as me overcoming odds or people saying to me, oh my gosh, you had every reason not to succeed. I've always looked at it as, well, no, I had every reason to succeed because if I can make it through those things, I can definitely make it in a structured, sound, consistent environment. So business in many ways became a safe haven and a bit easy to me because it's very structured. It's routine, structured, consistent, process, discipline, all the things I didn't grow up with. So
it's predictability and certainty, the things and safety, things you didn't have.
Yes. And you get to structure the KPIs. So I found business to be very rewarding, therapeutic. And so it's been incredible blessing for me that I found my lane in life, which is business, because academically, not a lot going on up here. I still want to meet the woman or man who invented spell check, because my God, you have been influential in my career. So, but business itself has been very sound, very, very therapeutic, and like you said, it's very structured, it's routine, it's consistent, and in many ways, you get to set the rules of what you're doing. So, again, I've never looked at my life as overcoming anything, or overcoming the odds, or how'd you manage to you had every reason not to succeed or to give up. No, I had every reason to succeed and not give up. So.
I like how you describe business becoming the lane for you. And as you're describing the scenario from the situation you faced in your childhood, suicide was not an option.
No.
Man prison was not an option. So it's almost like these things that, if life is like a decision tree and you have all these various choices and options available to you, all these choices got eliminated because either the consequences were not acceptable, or there was something that you did not believe in, but instead there was a compelling future that got focused because of that. And so much of, what we end up doing, whether we're conscious about it or not, tends to come from that framework, really.
Yeah.
Either a consequence we want to avoid, or a compelling future that's pulling us towards it. And through that, you find that North Star and that path. And, but especially for you describing I had every reason to succeed, I think that's so incredibly powerful. And I think it really speaks to so many people that have dealt with so much adversity, and even the immigrant story. I mean, for most immigrants, that's exactly the reason why they feel like they can succeed, because they've already overcome so much. Everything else, when there's certainty and there's safety and there's food on the table and you're alive, is a great day.
Right. It's interesting too. I say this, I'm glad you brought up the immigrant piece of this. I say this to people all the time. Right now, when I look back at my life and I look at some of the challenges I had from sexual abuse to, I got abandoned one time with 3 of my half brothers and sisters, and we got left in a home for 3 weeks. When I look at the things that I've gone through in life, at the end of the day, I was still born here in the United States. And I'm not going to make this a political thing. It doesn't matter to me what side of the fence someone falls on, Democrat, Republican, liberal, I don't care. But the fact of the matter is there's a single mom right now walking 1,100 miles from Honduras looking to get into this country to create an opportunity for herself and her children. On my worst day, I never had to face that. So I tend to look at the current events of the world. Many people think I dip back into my personal story for inspiration or motivation, and I don't. I look at the things that are going on right now that inspire me. The fact of, you can watch the news this evening and there's someone standing in line 18 hours today for a free box of food because of this virus disruption that we're in. I don't have that challenge. So I choose to look right around me in front of my face and realize it is a great day. I'm blessed. I'm healthy. I woke up. But yeah, if you truly look at it from an immigrant perspective, I've always been I've had so much admiration for immigrants who come to this country with 45 cents in their pocket, and you hear about them years later and they're multimillionaires. I'm like, wait a minute. I was born here. I'm ahead of them. I was already here. Right. And so I feel, given that, I have a responsibility to succeed because of the circumstances that I was born in this country. So that's the way I live my life.
I really appreciate you saying that, because as an immigrant that came to this country 20 years ago with absolutely nothing, I've lived that exact journey and I know what it looks like. And there's in my worst moments, even now, I think about how fortunate I am because I have more resources and safety and security today than I ever did before. And I think there's something about that experience that really shapes you because it fills your life with gratitude. You look at things very differently, to think about, your needs become very basic. Every day that I'm awake and I'm alive and I'm healthy, it's a day to celebrate. Yeah. And you're grateful for everything that comes your way. And no challenge is impossible.
No, Nikki, you appreciate this when you said gratitude. My wife laughs at me sometimes. I'm at times just grateful when I flip the light switch and the lights come on because I know what it's like for the lights to be disconnected, for there to be no water in the house. And so, matter of fact, this happened 2 days ago. I'm walking in the house from the garage. I think I took the trash out or something. And my wife's sitting on the couch. And I go over to her. I said, our garage is bigger than most apartments some people live in. Yeah. I said, isn't it crazy? And then it hit me one day. So this hit me recently. So since we've had this big virus disruption, I've been working in the bedroom because we have a home office, but my kids know I'm here, so they just stand outside and bang on the door the whole time until I open the door. So I'm in the bedroom, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at my bedroom. I'm looking at the bathroom and the walk-in closet, and I go, wow, my bedroom, bathroom, and closet are bigger than the apartment that I grew up in. And so for me, it's very humbling. And I never want to forget where I came from and how I got here. So yeah, gratitude is massive for me. And I won't go too far off on a tangent here, but Nikki, this one's important to me. I find it interesting that when things go wrong, people all of a sudden pray harder, pray more. Ask God to hear their prayers, answer their prayers. And truth be told, I pray more when things are going right because I feel so blessed that I have the things I have. Right. And I feel that when you give thanks, gratitude, pray more, appreciate, recognize when things are great, when things do get hard, and we're human, they do. Yeah. That's when your prayers are truly heard, is when we tend to, as humans, when things are great, we believe it was us that did it. But when I pray to God, sometimes our prayers are already being answered, but we're upset because they're not being answered the way we want to. God didn't deliver it on this platter.
God didn't follow my plan.
Right. And sometimes the blessing, the prayer, the answer is, are you healthy? Are you mentally capable? Great. I gave you what you're asking for. Now go get it.
I love that. But even in the failure and the loss, there's still gratitude even for that, because our greatest transformation often comes from exactly that. It creates space for it. And when there's loss, it creates room for the opposite of it is what will you gain? How will you grow from that? When you experience failure, what will you learn from that? What new competency or skill will you develop as a result of that? So there's a gratitude for that experience that can really unlock you. And I think even the prayer in that, which we were talking about earlier, which is instead of saying, why me? Thank God it's me that I get this opportunity to deal with this. And I think
it's funny, Nikki, I feel like you're setting me up. It's when you say the failures. So for me, I refuse to use the word fail. I truly believe, and Nikki, okay, you got to let me go on a rant here for a second. So, all right. So our society is the damnedest thing that we live in. Everyone says we learn the most from our mistakes.
Yeah.
But no one shares their mistakes. So wait a minute, I don't understand. We can go to LinkedIn, blog posts, wherever you consume content, and everyone is sharing top 5 things Jeff Bezos did, top 10 things Steve Jobs did to be successful, Elon Musk, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about their top 5 success list. Give me the top 5 mistake list. That's the list that I want. And so for me, I believe that we all make mistakes in life and in business. The goal is to learn, grow, and not repeat those mistakes. So for me, I just despise the term fail fast. I've spent my whole life, given my background, trying to learn faster. I don't want to fail fast.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make some mistakes, but if I don't repeat my mistakes, as a first-time president of a software company, oh my God, I made mistakes. But my failures came only my past relationships. I couldn't hold a relationship to save my life. Just did not know how to operate in a relationship. So we broke up. Okay, so I've got failed relationships. But as far as business, investing, okay, I've made some mistakes. But as long as I learn and grow and don't repeat those mistakes, I refuse to say fail. And last piece on this, I'll share with you where that came from, in case anybody's interested. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich. And in this book, I'm going to paraphrase this. I was 21 years old, and I read where Thomas Edison, it took him 10,000 times to invent electricity, the light bulb. And he said, did I fail 10,000 ways, or did I find 10,000 ways that didn't work? And that became for me my mantra of, you only fail if you stop trying. And that's what I live by.
And that too is a decision.
Yes.
When you decide to stop trying, it's your decision to fail, to actually accept that failure versus saying, all right, well, here are the 9 ways that didn't work. Now I'm getting closer to success, to finding the answer. So let me go forward from there.
Exactly.
And, but to your point about people don't talk about their failures, it has more to do with shame than the failure itself. And then there are those of us that get comfortable sharing our stories of, adversity, loss, failure, what have you. And it's incredibly liberating. I know it was for me, that was so liberating to just get past that, because you accept you're human, you accept reality and life as it comes. But more than anything else, you accept your own personal power to be able to overcome anything and really create the life that you want. What has helped you in that? What has been sort of the guiding principle for you in being so comfortable with setbacks or loss or life story or failures and not let shame get in the way? Because shame truly can be a showstopper, right? I mean, in business and life and everything, it can be a showstopper. So,
and I'll be fair to this, it wasn't until, like I said, I'm 48 now, 3 years ago, my book came out. And I only did my book as a legacy piece for my children. I never wanted that book to go public because there were things in there that I did not want people to know about me. For years, no one knew my father was a black pimp and drug dealer and had 23 kids. Who's going to want to date that guy? Or who's going to want to hire that guy? Right. So even my name, a lot of people didn't know my actual name was Javon. I go by JT McCormick. I learned early on in my 20s, if I go by JT McCormick, you can't judge me. You won't know, okay, who is that? But if I go by Javon, society's going to say, oh, okay, it's a black guy. He's got a black name. And so, I'll say it the way my wife said it best. I have been a chameleon. I have been whatever I needed to be to get to wherever I wanted to go. So there are people at times that thought I was Middle Eastern, Puerto Rican. When I lived in San Antonio, people thought I was Mexican. And again, whatever I needed to be is what I was. There were people who thought I had an MBA. Hey, you know what? If you think that, then that's what we're going with. So the one of the most how do I say that one of the most freeing pages of that book, it says, my name is Javon Thomas McCormick. My father was a black pimp and drug dealer. My mother was an orphan. I don't know where my last name comes from to this day. I have no clue where my last name comes from. I have a GED, no college degree, and this is who I am. And, I accepted that. And I can honestly say I would have liked to have accepted that back in my 20s. I feel like I could even be further along in life, but I'm glad I accepted it when I did, and I'm glad I did that book for my children. But the book was very therapeutic to realize, okay, this is who I am, and I do have a certain God-given skill set that I continue to focus on and grow and learn. To your point, I don't focus on my weaknesses. I focus on my strengths. I figure, okay, well, if I'm good here and I focus and I double down, I can be great. I can be impeccable. Right. I'm a horrible speller. If I spend a whole year attempting to be a better speller, I'm going to end up being mediocre at best. So I'm not focusing on that.
Right. Smart choices.
So over to directly answer your question, what are some of those things? Belief in myself was a huge one. I say this, and I say, if people turn this off right now and they don't listen to another thing that I say, you can't expect someone to love or believe in you if you don't love and believe in yourself. So at the end of the day, if no one else loves or believes in me, I know I can look in the mirror and love and believe in myself. And you just can't, it is unfair, it is wrong, and it can't happen if you want someone else to love or believe in you and you don't love and believe in yourself. It'll never happen.
And that's more than enough. It's a starting point of loving yourself is more than enough. And everything else is everything else is cherry on top, right?
Yes.
So, this is so powerful for our audience to recognize that if you simply let go of the shame and you own your story and you love yourself without judgment, without that self-criticism, not only is it incredibly liberating, but it actually becomes a pathway to get to the other side where your greatest treasures lie.
Yes.
It's that gate that's holding you back because you're so afraid of what other people are going to say, what they're going to think. And meanwhile, guess what? Nobody's thinking about you because we're all so busy worrying about ourselves that, if there's a moment where you think, what if I made this choice? What if I quit my job and started a company and then the business failed? What if, people found out about my failed relationships or that I lost money or this happened, I made a bad decision or I was a bad person? None of that is permanent. It's a question of sort of how you get to the other side of that.
Totally. It's interesting to when you take a look back and you see how many people are active on social media. I find the people who drop the most judgmental comments are the people who are most upset about their own lives. So they criticize someone else. But at the end of the day, my wife gets on me sometimes for this. I'm not the most neighborly of people. I'll wave, I'll say hi to the neighbors, whatever, but I'm not the block party neighbor guy.
Yeah.
And I say to my wife, I go, look, if we have to file bankruptcy right now, do you think the neighbor's going to kick in on our house payment? That I highly doubt it. So I'm not really running out to develop the relationship there, because the belief lies within me in our household. And I'm not really into, oh, well, what do you do for a living? Just so the neighbors can judge me and everybody's trying to keep up with one another. No, it's about you, and are you happy with yourself? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and know that you're doing all you can to be the very best person you can? And I'll share this with you. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me in life, you and I were just talking about this. So it happened to you in 2008. It happened to me in 2007. So I had $1 million, lost it all, broke, negative broke. I had to borrow money from my friend, my best friend, and my stepdad to pay my rent. And so I was negative broke. But I remember looking in the mirror and saying to myself, okay, you had all this money, but you still had a horrible character. You just weren't a good man. You weren't a good person. And I remember saying to myself, okay, you had a lot of money. Now you don't have the money, but you still have the same character.
Yeah.
So
you're still taking you with you wherever you're going.
And it hit me. I go, ooh, money or not, you're still the same. You still have the same character regardless. And my goal from that point forward said, okay, who do you want to be going forward from here? What type of person do you want to be? Yeah. And that became a major goal of mine, was I want to be the very best person I can be. And don't get me wrong, it still took time, and there was challenges and learning and things of that nature. But I share those mistakes. Even now in my role as CEO on LinkedIn, I share my mistakes. I share things I've done wrong. I'm not a big, share my successes. You can kind of see those for yourself. But I share the mistakes I've made in life. I tell people, I had a horrible character. I couldn't hold a relationship. I was atrocious in relationship. So love yourself.
I mean,
first.
Money just magnifies who you already are. Like fame just magnifies who you already are. So the bigger thing is, who do you want to be, and who are you committed to being? And I think that, like you've said, belief plays such a big part in that. Now you talk about hope versus belief. Let's dig into that, because I love that perspective, and I couldn't agree more with you. But especially in this time.
Yes.
So Nikki, much of everything is motivated by that.
You were opening up the can.
Let's go for it.
Yes, there are 3 words that I will not say: hope, wish, and luck. And I'll go through all 3. So hope. When I was a kid and I would hope my dad would come pick me up, he never showed up. And so hope didn't, when I would hope there was something to eat when I got home, never produced anything. And so I got to share this part as well. So I got a friend of mine, he's a pastor, and he goes, JT, I say hope in my sermon all the time. In fact, I said hope 16 times in my sermon last week. And I said, okay. I said, follow me. Do you want me to hope there's a God, or do you want me to believe there's a God? Now, keep in mind, he's a pastor. He looks at me and he goes, damn. He goes, I've never considered it from that side. I go, look, if I truly believe there's a God, I have to live in a manner in which I believe God would want me to live. You can hope there's a God, and you don't have to necessarily commit to that life of living by God's word. And so I don't do hope. I believe. So, and I also believe forces execution. If you believe you can have that big house, then you've got to do something to execute on that. Right. You can't just drive by and say, oh, I hope I have a house like that one day. That's not going to produce anything. But if you truly believe it, then you know in your mind you've got to execute to go get that house. So that's hope and belief. Wish. Wish is just ugly. I don't say that at all. Again, when I wish I had food as a kid, didn't produce anything. I'm so passionate about not using the word wish. I've got 4 children. And when we have birthday parties, when they go to blow out the candles, we don't say make a wish. We say make a goal. There's no wishing. We do not do wishing. Wish upon a star, you leave that for Jiminy Cricket because it does not produce anything.
Right.
And so again, belief forces execution. And then luck, you hear people say, oh my God, the $100 million lottery winner is so lucky. No, they weren't. They bought a ticket. They executed. And so
there was some action even in that.
Yes, there's action even in winning the lottery. You had to go buy a ticket.
Right. And chances are that person bought a ticket every single day, so they were consistently executing.
Yes. So yeah, hope, wish, and luck. Those are 3 words I will not use. I've had so many people challenge me on it and say, JT, sometimes hope is all people have. Well, you know what? Then you need to give them belief. Because hope isn't doing anything. And I do not, for me, hope's just a worthless word. Wish is a worthless word. And luck is worthless. I believe that given my circumstances, I can still succeed. I believe I can be a phenomenal husband and father. A new word that I've thought about throwing onto the list is satisfaction. Everyone talks about customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. And I thought to myself, I go, who the hell wants to be satisfactory? I would never want my wife to be a girls' night out. And they say, hey, how's your husband? How's he treat you? He's satisfactory.
He's satisfactory.
Who the hell wants to be satisfactory? I never want my kids to say, yeah, my dad was satisfactory. So I just refuse to, I'm like, satisfaction is
not a standard word to aspire to.
Yes. Yes. And you'll hear commercials. We aspire to the highest customer satisfaction. I'm going, that's not a lot. So yeah, hope, wish, and luck, and as a bonus, satisfaction. There you go.
There you go. That's phenomenal vocabulary addition, right? For the keys to success, keep that. But
it's funny you say that, Nikki. As far as our culture goes, we have what we call the language Bible, and within the company, there are words you cannot use. Hope, wish, and luck, can't use them. Right. Definitely can't say thank God it's Friday. No. Thank God it's Monday. Yes, thank God it's Tuesday. And here's what's really important about that. If you find yourself in a career, a job, a company where you have to say thank God it's Friday and you're trading 2 for 5, you're in the wrong place. Leave.
Right, totally.
Go somewhere else. And so that term definitely that phrase can get you fired from I don't want you to be here if you have to feel that it's thank God it's Friday. Let me help you find a career that you're happy in, because if you have to say that and trade 2 for 5, you're in the wrong place.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. We actually started this podcast as a way to share inspiring stories and strategies with our audience so they could turn TGIF into TGIM. I mean, it was literally, that was one of the inspiration was stop allowing yourself to be stuck in something that isn't right for you, because it's not the sunk cost. It's the opportunity cost of not living your greatest life and not making the greatest impact, because that's what we're all meant to do. And I think when you focus on hope, you leave the door open for possible failure. And that's what really gets in the way of execution, because if you think you might fail, well, you're going to hedge your bets. You won't fully commit. Exactly. Belief leads to full commitment and total decision for consistent execution. And that is success is as simple as that.
Totally.
So let's talk about your company, Scribe, which I'm a huge fan of, because we talked about your personal journey and the circumstances that you went through to become who you are today. And today, you're the CEO of this incredible company, Scribe Media, that really helps get people's messages out.
Thanks for listening. There are thousands of podcasts out there, and we are so grateful that you've chosen to listen to ours. Visit IamBeyondBarriers.com, where you'll find show notes and links to all the resources referenced in this episode. And be sure to take the quiz on the website. Your score will tell you where you are, what helps you gain momentum, and what holds you back. You'll also get a free guide with cutting-edge career strategies. We'd also love to hear from you. Share your comments and topic suggestions on IamBeyondBarriers.com. And we'll be sure to address them in future episodes. If you enjoyed our show today, please subscribe and rate the podcast, or just tell a friend about it. See you next episode.